Hello, you're watching Friday edition of News Mongolia. Today is July 29th. For our top stories, 4 MOUs were signed during Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene's visit to Singapore. Chinese Foreign Minister to pay an official visit to Mongolia in August. 6.5 billion Mongolian tugrus from the government's reserve fund to be allocated for keeping the price of diesel fuel at stable. For the news, stay tuned. At its regular meeting this week, the Cabinet reviewed the recent official visit of Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene to Singapore and the upcoming visit of the Chinese Foreign Minister. During his visit, Prime Minister Oyun-Erdene held official talks with his Singaporean counterpart, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, Acting President Eddie Teo, and relevant officials and heads of agencies and ministries. The two parties agreed to work together efficiently to stimulate bilateral cooperation and implement some of Singapore's best practices in Mongolia to solve traffic congestion and strengthen human resource capacity by means of introducing Singapore's know-how, advanced technology and investment in the country's economic priority directions. Mongolia also needs to learn from Singapore's experiences in digital transition, establishing a savings fund, urban planning and public service reform, development e-governance, and introduction of integrated smart systems. In total, 4 documents, including MOUs on supporting the establishment of a national savings fund in Mongolia, MOU for public housing, MOU for the development of e-governance, and an MOU between Ulaanbaatar City and the Singaporean ST Engineering Company were signed during the Prime Minister's visit to Singapore. To begin with, the two sides will establish joint working groups to implement projects and tasks agreed during the visit. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs informed the Cabinet on the Chinese Foreign Minister's and State Councillor Wang Yi's official visit to Mongolia, which is planned for next month. In this regard, the minister noted that the main issues to be discussed will be finalization of any outstanding issues related to the Irtenborong hydroelectric and Bagnor power plants. In July 2021, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, Batsitsek, paid an official visit to China, and the two sides issued a joint statement on strengthening cooperation to tackle the ongoing pandemic. The joint statement highlights sincere efforts to restore the economic and trade cooperation and increase trade turnover and the freight transportation volume. Furthermore, both sides affirmed to intensify the implementation of their development policies, bring about large-scale projects and programs in various fields, such as mineral exploration, energy, agriculture, infrastructure, and environment, and increase trade turnover to reach $10 billion in the near future. This is the first official visit of the Chinese Foreign Minister since his last visit to Mongolia in September of 2020. During his visit to Mongolia, Mr. Wang Yi is set to hold official talks with his Mongolian counterpart alongside paying courtesy calls on the head of state of Mongolia. The Cabinet decided to spend 6.5 billion Mongolian tugrus from the government's reserve fund to keep the price of diesel fuel at the same level as it was during last year's spring sowing. The price of diesel fuel was 3,380 Mongolian tugrus per liter during last year's spring sowing and harvest season. However, currently that price has increased by 19.6%. On average, 20 to 25,000 tons of fuel is needed for every spring sowing and autumn harvesting. The price of 10,000 tons of diesel will be kept at the same level as last year's spring sowing. The decision is aimed at keeping the price of wheat, flour, and other food-related items as well as commodity prices at a stable rate, highlighted the Minister of Agriculture and Light Industry, Min Tse-heng. This year, sowing has been undertaken covering 478.7 thousand hectares nationwide, of which grain accounts for 347.7 thousand hectares, and particularly wheat has been sown over 331,000 hectares. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. This is it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next time with more news updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.